Okay, we're going to go through the lying leg curl. The lying leg curl is a great exercise to get the hamstrings really, really short, and it's often we see done wrong in the gym quite often. So the thing we need to set up is first off the height of this. So if I get you to just lie down for me, easy way to decide what the height is from this is if you come down and just straighten your legs out for me, how much space she got between there. For her, this is probably a good space. We don't want to go in through extra range that she doesn't own. Can you tense your hamstrings there without moving? Perfect. So this is a good range of her. The other thing we want to see is moving how close this is. So generally the shorter lever we potentially could use more load, but a good rule of thumb is to start somewhere where it's just a little bit above the heels, so she's not going to use the calves too much. In terms of setup, we're going to get her to hold on to either of the handles, whichever's easiest for her. Probably for this one, you probably better for that one. And we're going to get her to lock in. So we're going to get her to pull down on those handles so she engages her lats and stabilizes the upper back. So all this should be locked in place. We want her to squeeze her bum and tuck her hips under. And that's just going to stabilize the hamstrings from one side and keep them short on this end, because we want to bring this closer to this position. If she lifts her hips up and lets that pelvis go, the hamstrings are now going to lengthen. We're actually going to lose what we're trying to achieve. So we want to make sure we're keeping that position. Now she's set up. In terms of executing lift, the big mistake I often see is that people are going to try and throw the weight up. Just try and kick this up. And we'll often see the hip come up, we'll see it bounce, we'll see a little bit of control, and a lot of times the clients will feel it in their calves. Instead, you want to come down, you want to show the feet are relatively straight. We're going to get her to squeeze her hamstrings and think about pushing down into my fingers. There, that way she's thinking about actually tensioning the hamstrings first and pulling this up. A good way to tell if this is actually what your client is doing is place your hand on their calf. If she comes up now, drive down into me, I shouldn't feel much in here. This isn't the driving force. She's squeezing her hamstrings and driving up from there. Just give me another couple of reps. Last thing to look at is what we call the Q angle. Now the Q angle is where the femurs, the upper leg bone, comes out from the hips. Now for guys, this is very, very straight up and down. So you're probably looking at lining them up in a very straight up and down position. Girls have naturally wider hips. That Q angle is going to be a little bit wider. And as you can see here, that her legs come out a little bit outwards from her pelvis. This is a really, really good setup for her because Vanessa knows what she's doing here. So again, just to recap, make sure we're stable through the upper body. Make sure our knees are just off this and lining up with the pivot point. This position here, just above the calves, so most point, just above the ankles, so most point, and think about driving down into the pad, keeping the hips in rather than kicking the foot plate up.